Alright, so we're going to talk about the area of rectangles and triangles. These are very important. You can develop all the area of rectangles of all the area of any shape with especially triangles, but including rectangles in that. You'll see a lot of shapes that have rectangles and triangles in them that are added together. And so we're going to spend the first part here of areas of rectangles and triangles to make sure we have those concepts down. So let's jump on in. First, we're going to talk about area of rectangles. This is something probably a lot of you already know, which is great. So we're just going to make sure we get everybody at the same page. So let's talk about area of rectangles. You can see rectangles. Most of us know what a rectangle looks like. All the angles are right angles. Also, sides that are opposite of each other are equal. These are just show that they're equal. Those little notches there. Define the area of a rectangle. Area, we say, is equal to the base times the height. All right. Our base, we usually consider that our bottom length. Our height is our top length. Okay. Going top. We can shorthand that and say that area is equal to B times H. B for base, H for height. Sometimes you see L times W, L standing for length, W standing for width. But we're probably going to stick with base times height. Let's solve some examples. Now when we're solving examples of area, all right, what area tells us is basically breaks up any shape into small squares, and those squares are based upon the units that you use. So in this case, we're using feet, so the squares are going to be a foot by a foot. So we want to see how many squares fit in this rectangle that is 1 foot by 1 foot. So you can see if we would break it up evenly, we would have 4 different squares on top, each 1 foot long, giving us the 4 feet. 3 feet on the sides, so that's 3 squares. If we would total them all up, you can see that we have 12. The equation allows us to do it a little bit simpler than breaking it up every time. So area is equal to base times height. Our base, we're going to say, is 4 feet. All right? And our height is equal to 3 feet. We multiply 4 times 3, that's equal to 12, and our units are pretty important. We want to keep that feet, and we want to square it because we're multiplying a foot times a foot. All right, so we get up with 12 feet squared. Let's do another example. What I want you to do on this example is pause the video now, try to solve it on your own, then we'll come back together and do it together. So go ahead and pause the video. All right, now that you're back, let's look at this together. We say the area is equal to base times height. Our first base, we're going to say, is 14 meters. Our second base, or our second height, excuse me, is 2 meters. So 14 times 2 is equal to 28. And meter times a meter is a meter squared. You can see exponents run itself through in almost anything that we see. So hopefully you got 28 meters squared. If not, it might be helpful to rewind the video, kind of play it again, try it, play it again, see how it goes. Area of triangles. Area of triangles we use quite often. And you'll see an area of a triangle is equal to 1/2 the base times the height. So it's very similar to the rectangle, except we have this 1/2 in front. If we would draw a rectangle, all right, and we can say base height, we also know that these are equal, all right. So, and we cut it in half, because we have the area of a rectangle is base times height. If we would cut it in half, and just go from corner to corner, that would cut it in half, and you can see we have 2 triangles. And we know a triangle is equal to 1/2 base times the height. So that's where this comes from. 1/2 base times height. A triangle is just half of a rectangle. And we can also cut it up in any way we want. If we would want to cut it up like this area here is equal to these 2 areas added together. But you just need to know a triangle is half of a rectangle, and that's where this 1/2 comes from. So an area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Here we have an example. What we're going to look at first is we're going to break it up in squares again. We're going to count it out and see what that gives us. And then we'll use the equation to see how it works. So the first thing it's doing is it's giving us these whole squares. And you can see that there's 6 full squares on our triangle. Alright? There's not enough room in each of these spots, and so we're actually going to save those. We're going to count those number of spots. And you can see that there's 4 half squares. Now, when we're talking about half squares, we can add 2 half squares together. So let's say we add 3 and the 4 together. That would give us 1 full square. So 4 half squares actually is equal to 2 full squares. And we could total up our total number of full squares, and you would see that we have 8 full squares. And that would be our answer. It would be 8 inches squared. Now let's use the equation to see how that works. We say the area is equal to 1/2 base times height. Our base is 4 inches and our height is 4 inches. So we're going to put 1/2 4 inches times 4 inches. Now, what I like to do is I oftentimes like to multiply in these whole numbers together before I do the 1/2. So basically I say it's equal to 1/2 16 inches squared, because you can see we're already multiplied our inches, so we want to go ahead and put that inches squared in. 1/2 times 16, that's equal to 8, and we copy down our inches squared. You see that our 8 here matches our 8 there. So you can see that that's how they add up. That's how they get together. So what I want to do for this last problem is go ahead and try to solve this one on your own, and we'll come back together. So go ahead and pause the video. We'll come back together and do it together. Alright, so hopefully you've got it done. This one's not as straightforward as our last problem is because it's not a right triangle. But you can see it will still work. Our base, so area is equal to 1/2 base times height. Our base is this bottom length, okay? So our base here is 2.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that down. We're going to multiply that by our height. Our height goes from the top of the triangle all the way down to the base, like this arrow shows. And we have to do that so it's a right angle. Alright? In this case, we do have a right angle here. So, oh, and this is yards, not feet. So we'll make sure we write down yards. And then we'll write down our height as 3 yards. Now from here, I've set it all up. That's the hard part, I think. Now we're just multiplying stuff out. So again, I like to take the 2.5 times the 3 first. 3, 2.5, all right? And if you do that, you get 7.5. So I come over here and I multiply 1/2 times 7.5. And I've multiplied my units already by doing the 2.5 times 3, so I copy that down as yards squared. Now I need to take 1.5 times 7.5. Well, 1/2 is equal to 0.5. So I really just need to take 7.5 times 0.5. That's 25, and that is 37. Now how many times do I need to move that decimal place over? You can see it's twice. I have 2 numbers to the right of the decimal point. I need to move it over twice. So I get my final area equal to 3.75 yards squared. So hopefully this is what you got. If not, again, it might be helpful to rewind the video, try it by yourself again, see how it goes, and do that. That's all I have, and I will see you tomorrow in class.